It is a lovely Wednesday evening. How are you? It's a lovely Wednesday evening. How are you doing? There's more stuff to talk about, y'all. Come on into the room. Share the live. Share the live. We got more to process and talk. I'm going to play a little halibut while we wait for a few more people to join.
Oh yeah, Coco mi guay. Sapri e peki go. Ang service ka pa malo. Si panitian su queso. So we piti me kakaigo. Sauve se sauve. Tokwe se palve juve. Kana we di shote bon ainwe. Somewhere do from me Saturday. Oh yeah. Power boni boko say.
Come in, like and share.
Power like play con azulay. Was in his away. Mama for today. Oh yeah. Come, me guay. Sinima ko inima kwe. Mem bet mem kwe. Mete si wo puche de miel. Parce que c'est pas tous les jours qu'il doit. Hell. Bouche fan c'est pour manger. Là-bas un barbecue quand je mets. Si la manière pour la volonté. Même passion bonne à pour pencher. Oh yeah. Power boni bon conseil. Mon crayon pas prendre sommeil. Power la clé con à soleil. Wasn't his away. Mama for today.
Y'all know what that means? You know what that means, y'all? Hazen is away. When we grew up, do you know what that means? Type it in the chat. Type it in the chat if you know what that means. Not just the literal meaning, but what does that mean? Why would you say that to a child? I remember being a primary schooler, and we would tell each other that, hey, bush have ears. But why? Why would you say that? What does that Powerball mean? What is that? What does it mean though, Deanie? Good night, Deanie. How are you? And Elvon and Lenore. What's up, sis? How are you? Vanessa, I'm so happy you are on the mend. Careful what you say because you just never know who might be listening. Careful what you say because you just don't know. You never know who might be listening. So sometimes, you're walking around and you think nobody's studying you, and you're talking about other people's business and saying all sorts of stuff. And the Powerball is, hey, wazie or hazie nizoe. So be careful what you say. Well, good evening, y'all. Hi, Glenda. Good evening to you. Hi, Nona. How are you all doing tonight? I am feeling a little bit more rested. I've been trying my best to sleep a little more. How about you? How about you? How about you? Yes, so thank you to those of you who sent me the clip and the link to Lofty's video with two people. So Lofty interviewed two people that I saw anyway today. One was a neighbor of the pastor, and this gentleman is the brother of the pastor, the brother that the pastor called for help, or one of the brothers who helped him, who lives pretty close to him. So I'm going to try something new tonight. Hi, Kuns. How are you, Kunny? I'm going to try something new tonight, and I'm going to try to see if you can also see the video as I play it. So you all let me know. if you can see it and hear it too, okay? Because when you're interviewing people, it's important to see their facial expressions. It's important to see, you know, hand gestures, body movements, all of that stuff. And at this point, I think a lot of people are feeling some mistrust of our safety system. And, I don't know how confident that many people are that they'll be able to solve the case. Let's just keep holding high hopes that they do solve this case for Kanisha, for Kanisha's sake, and for ours, and for ours. I also think, like I said, I've been saying that because there was a void for so long from the authorities, the public, in our desperation, has been feeling like, well, if you're not going to do something, we're going to do something. And so a lot of people, I think it's a positive, have been engaged in really trying to put two and two together themselves with the little bits and pieces of information we're seeing on the outside. Of course, you're not an investigator, so you don't have all the facts, and you're only getting certain pieces of information. But I think we are not stupid either. We're all rational, mostly thinking people. And I'm going to keep encouraging all of us to keep our vibration high, our hopes high and alive for this little girl, that we find out what happened to this little child, so that she didn't just disappear on our watch just like that, and we did nothing really. There's a thing called precedent where you kind of set the tone. So say, like for this, how often do we have this stuff happen in Dominica? Really not often. But the way we deal with this the first time will set a precedent. It'll set the tone for if somebody thinks they're going to try to do this again to another one of our children. So that's one of the reasons I'm really begging, pleading, praying, and hoping that our authorities do their best job to try to get to the truth of this issue for Kanisha. So, welcome all of you. I'm going to start playing the video, and you let me know if you can hear it and see it well. Give me a thumbs up in the chat or tell me yes if you can see and hear well.
Okay, let me say a special good afternoon, a special good evening, maybe, a special good morning, maybe. Those of you who are already here, we're approaching 1 month since the bizarre disappearance of young 12-year-old Kanisha Etienne, who used to live in Warner for some time.
Thumbs up if you can hear.
And okay. I set out on a mission this afternoon to basically help, some persons out there connect the dots much better, because it is one thing to hear certain things, it is a totally different thing to be speculating as well. You normally want to get your information from the horse's mouth, as it were, if you understand that lingo. You want to get it from the persons who have the information, that can tell you the information as it is from a very factual standpoint. And so that is why this afternoon I am here with the brother of Mr. Lawrence Bruno, the adopted or the foster parent of Kanisha Etienne. I met him this afternoon in his garden, that is, doing his work, but you know how it is in terms of trying to seek some answers. He decided to have a nice sit-down discussion with me here this afternoon. Delvi, good afternoon to you, brother. How is it?
Greetings. I good.
Yeah, man. Yes, I.
Yeah, man.
Delvi, we are here this afternoon in search for answers for Kenisha. Okay, before we go to the very unfortunate night, because you were one that helped your brother in terms of what he was suffering on the night. Let me ask you a question, Delvi. In that Glashing area they call area in Warner, how long have you been living in that area?
Well, since I born. I'm a Zion man since I born.
Okay.
Yeah.
So since you born, so
Since
basically you know the area very, very well.
Yeah, man. Since I born, I know Zion.
All right.
Born and with Zion.
So what is your full name? I know they call you there. What is your full name?
Well, my name is Delby Bruno, and my queen calling me Johnny, so I put it DJB.
Okay.
Delby Johnny Bruno, so I'm more using Johnny.
Okay, cool.
You check?
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. The young child in question, Kenisha Etienne, did you know Kenisha?
Well, I will tell you how I know Kenisha since she come around the family. Since I know my brother Adoga, I met my brother wife Adoga, you know. I know, and they introduced me to her, and since she meeting me, she calling me uncle. So that is like a family vibes.
Okay.
You check me? So respect to her, respect to me. Yeah. When she meet me and she calling me uncle, it's a big respect. It's not my, but it's a big respect for the family.
Yeah.
So I will say, so I know her.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True. In terms of your brother's wife, that is Lawrence Bruno's wife, Miska, how well do you know Miska?
I don't really to say no Miska. I just know it's from my brother's wife. From my brother, he married to her. Mm-hmm. She come in the family.
Okay.
He's so about like to say, know her, deep. No, I don't know. So I know her as my brother's wife. See?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Before they moved to Glashing area, where they were living before?
Before they moved to Glashing, they was living in the church. In the church, in the pilgrim church.
Okay.
Yeah, his pastor, religion, everything. Yeah, they just have they calling it a certain apartment for the pastor to live.
Yes.
With his wife and whatever. But I'm not a churchman. But if you ask a church member, they can tell you, but they used to live in the church.
Okay.
And from the church, after the storm or whatever, we had a house in the Zion, I born and raised, I know that house, I live in that house, the hurricane mash it up. So they end up building a smaller truck store, not like a liquors,
Yeah.
And they end up living there on the estate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In terms of the house in Glashing, where they lived.
Yes.
Do you know? Can you give us an idea why they left down in the center of one and came up to Glashing? You know why?
No, I will tell you it's about I will say society vibes. I would say.
Okay.
But I cannot just tell you because I am getting that. But
yeah.
When you live in around people, you don't hear like but that is through society. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe in their religion thing, whatever. So I can say it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move to Glashing because that's where we really want to concentrate now. In terms of the house where your brother lived with Kenisha and his wife, did that house have any light? We're talking about light, electricity.
Yeah, solar. Yeah, that's solar light.
Solar.
You did give me the place light. Because when I come in out I seen his light, I seen my light, I seen King light. It's solar.
Yes.
But it's not to say, like you will say, put a light outside there. It's a big solar, so it giving, when you put it on, it giving the house area light.
Sure.
Yeah.
Roughly, just a rough idea. How far is your place of dwelling, your house, to your brother? How far, roughly?
A couple, let me see, a couple 100 feet in.
Okay.
or 2,000. Well, I cannot really, but it have a little,
It have a little distance.
you know, it have a little distance.
Okay.
It have a little distance. I cannot say 100, but as my brethren would say, a couple thousand feet.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
because it coming from the road, and after that it making an air to come by me.
Okay.
It not just going straight. So you have to make a cross to come by me from the main road we have coming out where he living. So it have a little distance.
Okay.
It have a little distance.
Maybe one of them days, if you're willing, I really want you to kind of walk that with me, just the house to your house.
So no problem.
To kind of get a better picture.
For you to really see the vibes, no problem.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, Johnny, let's get to the night itself. Can you remember what happened on the night? What do you remember happened on the night?
Well, the night set, I can give it to you from my vision, where I tell you straight up how that thing fall in my hand, I will see it. From the time I had to go down Guana and check my auntie and check a little friend of mine, I just stay one certain time couple hours long. I just go down certain time 6, 7 o'clock and come back or 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because when I come back, it's at my home.
Yes.
But when I go down one, I go by my auntie. I tell him, my spirit, from the time I tell my auntie they want to see me, so possibly talk little business and thing, when I go by her, my spirit just telling me not to stay on. So I tell her not staying long, because I have to go and check another person and I have to pass by my friend well done, you know. To be honest, my brethren, I just stay one the time I used, you know, my energy was just telling me go back Zion. And when I go back Zion, as I do the same wrong, I tell you, I go by me, I make a coffee, a little tea, I roll a spliff, and I check in a little documentary on my phone. So while I stretch out on my little stretch I have there in my kitchen, I am in a call.
Around what time of the night that?
Well, that time was almost around 11:40, you know, something, yeah, around that time, around 11:40.
Okay.
And so when my brother called me, Johnny, he don't even call me Delby, as I tell you my name is. I'm more used to Johnny.
Yes.
So when he tell Johnny, come and help me. So I tell him, brother, help you for what? So I tell him, if you want me to help you, but come under the light for me to force to talk now what you want me to come and help you to do now, my brother. But I never knew my brother was under that, you know, chop up thing already. I never knew. So while he trying to come out by the seaweed tree, I have to come under the light. I just see red. A man coming towards me with his whole body in blood.
Okay.
And all he telling me, come and help him, Kian. Kian take the child and Kian chop him and Kian go.
Yeah, a question to you before we go.
Yes.
Let me ask you, do you know if your brother had or have a cell phone?
Yes, I know he having a cell phone. He have his cell phone, but I don't know about I don't know about that time, if he had it to him or whatever, but I don't even have his number.
Okay.
I don't have his number, but he have his cell phone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's so when he tell me about Kian, while he telling me to help him to go and check the child, when he come with the chopper, I didn't can leave and go and check the child because I was his condition. My brother, I have to stay to check my brother. It's not to say I diss the daughter, you know. But the condition I see him, I check him to go into that.
So give us explain a little more on that condition. How was it?
No, when he come and he tell me about help him, come and help him about the child, he just fall in my arm, you know.
Okay.
Because through blood he may be passed through, you check me. So when he fall in my arm and I pick him up, like I catch him, I stretch him to come on the little piece of concrete by me in a little porch I have there, and I raise him to lie down there. So I tell him, I talk to him before I go and call King. I tell him, preacher. He didn't answer. I say, preacher. After I call him a little louder, you understand?
Yes.
And he answer me, and I tell him, preacher, don't leave me. I go in and get help. because me alone are there. So I tell my going and call Rasta so we can get a more, so if we can go and check on the daughter, but I didn't can go and check for the daughter, the condition. I did see the brother.
Okay.
So all he was telling me is about the little child. To go for the little child. But I cannot go and get the little child. Because I don't know your Kian will be the little child. But first thing he tell me is Kian. That is Kian. Yeah.
So at that point, you're saying you had to make a conscious decision whether to stay with your brother or whether to go and look for the child, and you decided to hold on to your brother.
Yes, because me alone, the way the vibes are saying, me alone, I can never get the child the way the brother come and do the act. You check me? So when I see the condition, I go for help, more help.
Yes.
And it's then we start making phone call. When we make them calls, everything come a little late. It's not a little late, they come late. Nothing wasn't the way, I will tell you, when you get a call for you to move on that journey. Because we make that call and say, come with all your forces. Because somebody missing and somebody trapped.
Okay.
So we need help. But with the time the man come, it was like, I telling you.
Business done already.
Yeah.
Okay. So who made the call to the ambulance?
The call to the ambulance at Warrington.
Okay.
We call for transport. I don't have ambulance number. But we did call for transport to try to take out the brother from Zion for him to get, better care for his condition. So while he call the fireman call the ambulance, while they going down with my brother, they meet the ambulance Massac. And it's from Massac, they take out my brother on the van and put him on the ambulance. And from the time he go on the ambulance, they tell me, I get to know, he start to throw up a lot. So they say the blow he get in his head is that caused him to throw up the kind of throw up. He threw up, Okay. So they say the kind of lash he get in his head, it caused him to a kind of a throw up, he throw up. Yeah.
On whose vehicle did they bring him down from one?
Warrington, my car.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like you stretch him out at the back of the van?
Yeah, they stretch him up. My sister go and sit down flat, and my sister, we put him in long, and his head was on my sister through the way he was, the blow and them thing, because he had a hole behind his head. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a hole
behind his head. A hole, yeah.
Okay. So in terms of the wounds itself, describe to us how you saw the wounds of your brother. Where were these wounds first of all? Where?
My brother, the first when I watched my brother, he didn't can even open it. His eye was blocked already.
Okay.
That is a cord he get above his eye. And all in his head, he had the hair. I mean, it's after when they cut the hair, they say it's 7 slash he get in his head. So it's when they take out the hair, you see the amount of cut, But isn't it when I see the man face, my brother, I telling you, I even thought the man would lose his eye.
So in your mind, you're a Rasta man, you're a cutlass man I met in your garden this afternoon. Based on how you saw the wounds, do you think that it was like real like cuts or like plaque?
No boy, that's chop.
Chop.
So I watch it.
Okay.
The only thing the cutlass was not cut in, brethren.
Okay.
That is what. If that cutlass was cut in, let me tell you, DA allows so, maybe they would come and arrest I and I.
Okay.
The way it would go down, because I would meet a body in my yard.
Okay.
And somebody missing I. And we don't know nothing, and I would wanna. And when I would come in at my room, I would just meet a body lie down in my yard, So, so it's why I tell you, Jah talk to I and I while I moving, Jah tell me, make my move and come back. Come back home. And the home I come back is to meet my brother under that pressure there. So I watch it.
So based on what you're saying, Johnny, would you say that because of your brother thickness of his hair, it kind of cushions some of the blows, some of the
well, you know, it's the man that always quoting his hair.
Okay.
It's not a man to say I don't have big hair, you know.
Okay.
But for the time he didn't to say cut it, you know. Majority time, certain time when he go into the always taking a bald head and thing.
Okay.
But if he had the bald head, I believe in it too, you know, because everybody is just skin and yeah. Yeah.
So apart from his head, did he have any other wounds on his body?
Well, it's on his chest. He get that, but the cutlass just do penetrate.
Okay.
He get that chap on his chest.
Okay.
And if that cutlass was cutting, you just know that man don't have nowhere to go, nothing to come by me, because that would just open the man's chest. So it is real.
And in terms of the amount of blood, what can you say about the blood?
Well, I telling you, I see the blood on him, but when you see where that thing happened there, my brother, to be honest, I do go there, you know, because you know why? On them thing there, when them thing happen, you have to be careful too.
True.
You check me as man, is my brother, is my family, is our place, but I did decide the cops and them to go there before me. For me now to make my move. But I decide I don't make no move, and after for them to say it's this and that. And because let me tell you, my brother, you yourself as a man that come and interview and you know and you hear a lot of arbitrary that going down, brethren. A lot of arbitrary. So that arbitrary talk can come same towards I. So that is why we have to be careful. People will say, why I do go, but Jah know why. Yeah.
So roughly, how far did your brother have to walk? Let's say a minute, 2 minutes for to get to you that night. How far? You know?
No, more than 2 minutes.
Okay,
the same distance I give you.
Yeah. Let us say if you walk in normal, healthy person, how much time would it take you to walk from your brother to your house?
We don't know.
No load, nothing.
I would walk that quick because, you know, trust me, as a man, I just move quick.
Okay.
I come in out Zion there to go on less than 10 minutes if I have to trot. It's trot, I trot in. But I can do that fast, man. Because from by me to by him.
Yes. From by you to by him, normal walking. Let's say you're not hustling, just normal walking.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, around 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
I just want to put an idea in terms of how long it took him to get to you being wounded.
Yes, but with, like as you say, it will take him more time under the wounded because he knows that brethren that just go quick. But for the time he come by me and maybe the time that happened, he maybe had to stay down to recover through all the blood he passed because he had some big patch of blood. You check me, is when my brother, my second elder brother come on the scene and he see that guy end up covering the blood because he checking nobody to cover that yet.
Covering the blood for what?
With soil.
Oh, soil.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah, through everybody coming and seeing that, you know? Yeah.
Did you wrap your brother? Did you?
I take a sheet and I rub his head through the blood I was seeing and, you know, yeah, man. Is that I can do for the time, my brother. Trust me. Yeah. He's run in my room, take a blanket, and just wrap the brethren head through the blood I was seeing running. And it's that I can do. Yeah.
Yeah, so you wrap him up well enough.
Yeah, man, so he can, you know, and when them other brethren come with me and King and me, you know, when the brethren say, when the fireman see him, the fireman say we cannot leave him there.
Okay.
Like the condition, the court, the one court he see over his eyes.
Okay.
He just said, no, we cannot leave Mr. there.
Okay.
And it's from there we take him, carry him, bring him by the road, put him on the van, and bring him to the hospital.
Okay, under your brother's pressure that night, apart from telling you about the child, going to look for the child, anything else he told you? Anything else?
All he was just telling me is the child. It's just the child. to go and get the child, to take the child from Kian is the only thing he was telling us.
So he mentioned Kian him to you.
What is
Right
Kian?
there, right there,
Yeah,
right
man, yeah, man, yeah, man. The first thing he tell me, you know, yeah, he tell me Kian I come there and take the child and, you know, and preach a look Kian.
How well do you, Johnny, knew Kian? Because he's no more. How well did you knew Kian?
Well, I knew Kian from Uterus.
Okay.
Because call it like when I used to go and help my sister, Kian was a little youth, you know, raising up little youth man, you know, you check. And from Kian come out school, send Kian foreign. From the time Kian go foreign, with I don't see Kian like that. You check, I change you.
Okay.
So I see. But I know Kian good. It's not like you can see Kian is not like he's so simple. You can see that you have something like process, you know. Yeah, you know, to say like a simple youth, I do that like whatever. You can see like he's a youth that have a demon, an evil spirit in him, and can just go and do anything anywhere, you know, because he got home, come and do it. He can go in any home and do it. But it's just because it come to our home. But it's not to say like he's at home. He can do it on any home on the roadside, my brother.
So Kian, you knew, right? How you knew him, you know, as a youth man growing up. Do you know Kian come in Warner area before? Like sightings in Warner, frequenting Warner?
No. And if you, from the time we know he in those things there, I can tell you one time I see Mr. Commander is that time he come and do a arbitrary under his same malice.
Okay.
And then police had to come and handcuff him and thing and bring him go. He was by my sister. He ended up doing that. You know, a kind of arbitrary kind of thing. But it's imposes vibes, you know.
Okay.
Demon, you can see the other demon, Mr. Because nobody didn't can hold Mr.
Around how long ago was that?
It about a couple years, you know. Yeah, it about a little time. And after that, he never passed back. To say pass back one, and if you ask anybody one, they can tell you if they see that brother or if they see that brother walking on that. Never.
So I'm gonna ask you a hypothetical question now, meaning you may not know the answer to it, but I'll still ask you nonetheless. Why Kian was not a custom of coming in one, as you said? Why do you think that Kian came to Warner? Just, you know, your own speculation as it. Why?
I as you saying that I cannot answer that one.
Okay.
I can answer that one.
Still a mystery to you.
Yeah.
The incident you spoke of in one a couple of years ago. I don't want to go.
I know, yeah.
But you know, can you just give us an idea what he did then?
Well, at time he come out. I don't know where he come out and his bells he come out. But he come by my sister. And when he come by my sister, he just act to act. He start to act real funny. So I think he was saying, my sister tell me, like he was saying he want to interfere with, you know, with them children. Okay. And he was acting real, not like a human. So she called her husband. Her husband come. I think he maybe did give him a push because he don't have a good leg, something like that. Okay. So you know he didn't can go and face Mr. So they end up calling more people in the surrounding. Yeah. And my brother, for man that come there to take what Kian inside my sister house. I telling you, it was a 2-man, neither 3-man, neither 4-man, neither 5-man. It was man, and they still didn't can take him off. The man bend a bed. Them iron bed. Bend that, I tell you, for the force of the evil spirit. It's no joke. And it's from there we see something wrong with the brother. Because it's not a thing we know. Our family never in that kind of things there. Because I telling you, everybody in our family respecting each other.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
raise up with respect, discipline, I telling you. And it's not like you would just come and disrespect. I will come and disrespect your daughter, at least my cousin, or I will come and disrespect your, we do raise up like that. And that was the way I see that was coming through the brother in his auntie house. So when they had to call police, call him out station, all them police that was around, they had to come to help that situation. So it's why up to now, like how we going on there, I myself know the brethren have a problem. The brethren had a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, he had a problem.
As you said to me before, Johnny, you're not a Christian. You're Rastafari,
Yeah,
Bush. But we heard of the family, that is your brother, his wife, and Kanisha being at church that night. Can you verify that? Can you confirm that?
Well, I could telling you how the same time I trod into Zion, I see her transport back by the church.
Okay.
That is preacher wife car.
Yes.
And I know they always come into because they say they will have their a woman's night.
Yes.
Certain time the woman just come together to in their religion kind of thing. I not in that thing, but that is so I. And I see I see the car there, so I check in she was in the church.
I don't know what time of the day that was.
That time I was moving up, it was around after it's so that time I was coming back up.
Okay.
I didn't stay 1 or 2 late. So I see that I didn't know we are sheep, but I see the transport.
Okay.
But the same time I meet a bedroom and he tell me she was by him, like Dennis' son. Because she just sell clothes, she just sell things, and she had those things there on the transport. But that same night, she had to go in the church. My bedroom tell me, the preacher wife was by him because he and preacher is same age group. You understand?
Yes.
Yeah. So when I show him what I do, he tell me, boy, Rasta, that same lady was by me. So in the church maybe it's want something to sell or whatever. I don't know. And from that she was maybe back in the church. So when that thing go down, when I call her preacher, give me her number under the same pressure because I didn't know who to call. So when I call her twice. The phone ring one side, the phone ring, I tell him I do get one side. I leave it like that.
Okay, so the night under your brother pressure, you tried calling her?
Yes, I call her, try to call her. Okay. I call her twice.
Okay.
But I didn't get no answer. Yeah.
Okay. The days leading up to that night, did you see Kanisha anytime before that?
No.
Before that night?
No.
The Tuesday you didn't see at all?
No. Because as a man I don't to see just I always inside in my hole. When I mean in my hole, in my property, you check me. Yeah. Why didn't see her that? No.
Yeah. So you didn't see her at all?
No.
So when was the last time, when was the last time did you see Kanisha?
The last time I see Kanisha, it was, I think, 1 night. I think that last time I see her while I was by my sister. Yes, she and her mouth the same lady. Yes, and she come by Ellen. Yes, that was the last time I see her. Yeah. It's not under that same time. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
But the last time I see her, it was by my sister one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We spoke about the lighting situation in Glashin. What about the water situation?
Well, the water.
No Wasco up there or
no,
system?
Sus. 24/7. Liberty, good water.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, 24/7.
So you living in one, for timely memorial, as you said, for a long time now.
Yeah.
Can you confirm whether whether the house that preacher lived in have like what kind of toilet system?
No, it have a toilet, like a pit toilet.
Okay.
They have a good pit toilet,
Okay.
proper, in condition.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so a pit toilet
Yes,
setup.
a pit toilet. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So there's no like the Wasco feeding.
No. We have our own water. I mean, source.
Yeah.
Never dry. From the time I know myself, it's there. We taking water up to 2 days. Yeah.
Yeah. But Johnny, there are lots of persons out there, as you said to me earlier, there are lots of persons out there saying a lot of stuff about your brother. I mean to say, without facts, without really knowing what went on, there will be a lot of speculation. Yeah. You being there on the night, how would you want to, or what would you want to say to these people who are saying whatever they're saying out there?
Well, my brother, I tell you straight up, all I have to tell them people is to get their facts straight. Mm-hmm. You check me, always get, how I would say it, from the horse's mouth then. So when you get it from the horse's mouth, you can go with it. But you cannot come with what you want. You can speculate. You're just thinking, saying what you think. But you have to get the truth. And then you can take it from there. But a lot of people saying too much, saying that's not true.
The pieces of, I'm saying, the evidence, the slippers, the teddy bear, and maybe a tie strap and a handkerchief that the police got. You have an idea how far they got that from the house?
No, I don't. No, they do come and tell me it's around there. I don't see how they get that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
And you yourself saying that you never went back to the property on.
No, because as I tell you, you have to own. You check me? You have to own, because if I go the same time like you would tell me to go, yes, I can go, but I can never fingerprint. And certain time they can even say it's me that chap preacher. Yeah, as man, I bring in a point.
So you're protecting yourself.
I protect myself.
Yeah.
You check me? I protect myself because I telling you, if I have to go, if it's like I have to fly like how they just call it the thing, the drone, for me to the whole mister, I will do it. Because it's arbitrary that going down. But you have to be wise. You have to be wise.
Johnny, there's a very gray area, meaning it's not certain how did Kian got into the house. Your brother said and keeps saying that he came into the house the night with Kanisha. He helped her prepare some dinner. He went to his room. She went to her room. He heard her say, Uncle Kian. He moved into the room. Those are his words.
Yes.
Again, I'm just asking you, do you have an idea? How did Kian get into that house?
Well, I tell you, you see how you say that? My brother, I cannot tell you how we get into the house. I wasn't there. It is that is see. That is the man that have to say how we get into it. The man that work there. You check me? I'm telling you, I wasn't there. I cannot say how. I cannot say. I cannot.
Okay. But I mean to say, you being around your brother for, time now, would he, for example, open his house, go inside his house, and you come into him, would just pull it and come inside?
If he there?
Yes, if he there.
No, I will call.
Yeah.
I will never go, even though it's my brother's house, I will never just go in my brother's house and push and go inside. I have to call from a distance and make him know I and I come in. So he can know, oh, Johnny come in. You understand?
Yes.
So he have the right to open the door.
Okay.
But I cannot go and push the door or burst his door to no. He was supposed to call. Yeah.
So again, do you think it was, well, we go over that already, but I'm a person I like to ask questions just to get to the bottom of things.
Yes, my brother.
Do you think, Johnny, it was the best of moves that night not to go in search of Kanisha? Just going back.
Move.
Yeah.
Well, it's not the best of move to go look for Kanisha. We can go look for Kenisha, but it's not like we have to get the authority from the police recording. When the police come, we can go there with the police at large.
Okay.
You know, because through witness to on the scene, what are going, because just see what are going on. My brother get chopped and the daughter end up missing, and my brother come towards me for rescue, for help. And when you watch that now, it didn't have nobody that know what are they going down there. And when I come and I check my brethren, show him what I go down, everybody come with different. But you have to get that from who you have to get the truth. Is the person that telling you what had happened to him, and you have to get the truth. You check me? And the only truth, when I telling you about the truth, it have to come out where the person get chopped. What the person telling you is the other thing have to come out. Another person that don't know nothing I go down there already don't say is this or is like that or is so. No. Is what preacher tell I can see.
Okay. Well, I'm really longing to have a discussion, just like I'm having a discussion with you. One day, someday, with preacher for sure. Because a lot of questions that I'm asking you, Johnny, you really cannot answer me from a factual standpoint.
I cannot.
Especially what transpired in the house.
That is it, my brother.
So I'd really appreciate if you can even talk to your brother, advise him, tell him, bro, it is what it is. Feel free to have a discussion with me someday. I would really appreciate that, because at the end of the day, we don't want to put nobody in hot water.
No.
We don't want to tarnish anybody's
name.
Is the truth, man. But a child is missing.
Yes.
That is the urgency of the situation.
Yes.
Be it dead or alive.
Yes.
We need to know exactly what went on, so at least some kind of closure can be brought to that matter.
True.
Kian, let's focus a little attention on Kian before we bring it to a close. Kian, apart from that night and the night you say in Warner, the 2 years prior, Kian had any altercations, like any incidents like that before, based on your knowledge? Kidnapping or trying to have sex with people?
No, never. As I tell you, from the time the brother come out on the other side, from the time he come out on the other side, I just see the brother change. Like he's not the king, and I know things he doing and he just changed from the time he come out on the other side.
So you would agree that what he did or alleged to have done that night is out of character? That is not him.
By telling you, I myself know Kian have his, how I would say it, like they say fool. Why don't you watch a man like that and say he fool? I find that man intelligent. When you will say about a madman is a madman, he can do anything and he walk into you straight back like a madman. But you cannot tell me he's a madman. And when you do what you're doing, you know how to hide, you know how to duck, you know how to do everything. I know you is a possessed man. I can see Kian is a possessed man. I telling you. But on the madness, when they saying about mad, man at mad doesn't act like that. It's so I would say it have mad, it have possessed, it have many different ways you will call it. You check me? But when you, as a man, I know you know about madman. Because a madman will come and he'll just tear up a place in a pattern after you just him go back calm and whatever, and like nothing go happen. But I do see it like a madman. I just see like a possessed man, a man that have a demon, a zombie on him, so I watch it.
The shooting of Kian, where he subsequently succumbed, where he died. What are your thoughts on that, Johnny?
My thoughts? The shooting?
Yes.
Well, that is Babylon. When I watch it, it's Babylon. That is Babylon. I could not say nothing much. It's just because I go in and tell you what I did want. I did want to see Kian in the uncle. like shackle for me to feel we gain our victory because I want to know you that little daughter. You see?
Yes.
I telling you straight up. I want to see Kian shackle if he's on the hospital bed with iron in his foot or whatever, and for Kian to face his penalty in Rasta. But it come on a turn around. So when I hear they catch Kian, I didn't know he did die yet. But when I hear they catch Kian, I see praises. We're going and get Kenisha. Trust me. I see that is our victory. We're going and get that little daughter. Either she die, either she rotten already, but we get the little bit we get, but we can see she resting in peace. You check? Yeah. But when I see, I telling you, when I see how it go down, my brother, I just checking that it's arbitrary. We cannot looking for a victory and for us to throw that victory. Throw the victory. And now we just come back to zero. We're looking for something and we cannot get nothing. Mm-hmm. It's so eye-watching. Mm-hmm. So I just see it was a blunder on the other side. A serious blunder. Because one thing we didn't want is Kian. And we get Kian and we just throw Kian. So we forget about that little innocent daughter. We just forget about Kenisha all around and checking is about Kian. It wasn't about Kian. It's about the daughter. So we have to take Kian, put him even home to make him cure or whatever for him to tell us. Even if he can talk the same time, but he had to talk to us and tell us where he put that daughter rest or wherever for us to just know that is it. But from now on, you already know it get worse. We didn't looking for better, but it get worse. This is why I watch it. Yeah.
So coming back to your brother from the Tuesday night, how long your brother stayed in the hospital based on your knowledge? How long?
Well, to be honest, I already couple days, man. I will say. I don't think it's a week. Okay. Couple days. Maybe you can say a week. I didn't already take notes of that. Okay. You check me? I didn't take notes of that because those things are not really, you know. Okay. So I was checking what I had to do. I just do it, but I didn't really take notes of how many days and everything, you know.
So about you spoken since he came out of the hospital?
Yes, we spoken. He come and check me by me Saturday. Okay. Yeah. And that is the first time I really see him too. Okay. Yeah, because I up and they lie down.
So I don't want to go in any private thing or you spoke about, but you know, anything that is worth mentioning you haven't spoke about.
No, we just, we don't talk too long. Okay. Because the time when he come and check me, I thought we would talk a little longer, but he tell me go in the toilet. Okay. You check me? So he tell me we will talk again because he tell me so much thing people saying, yes. On the other he tell me be careful, because as he tell me like don't even talk to people. You understand? Yeah. Like I say I know put myself into talking to people. I know what are going wrong already. I know who to deal with, and as man. Sure. So as you know what people saying about him, about the little child, and it hurting too. As a man, it hurting too. It hurting. So I just have to try to hold it on alone. Yeah. But as man, when a positive have to come, you have to deal with the positive. Sure. You have to deal with the positive.
So he's still lamenting over Kenisha, missing.
Yeah, man. But I say that's like him and daughter, Yeah. It's people that saying what they're saying, See? But it's like his daughter, That man love that little child. And the love I will tell you, see, like as you tell me already, people that saying what they're saying, but all he be thinking of is that little child. Because he know once he can take that little child and go. Nobody know that well, right? No. Yes, it's that little child alone.
So when he passed by you the other day, in terms of the wounds, I mean to say you saw him in blood on the On the night.
The night.
In terms of the wounds, how?
Yeah, man. Like when he passed by me, I just he had his hat.
Okay.
But the one over his thing, I see it looking ivory. The big one he get over his eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, it cured nice. But he didn't take all this out to show me.
Okay.
You know? Okay. But he get around 6 in his head. And the one you see in there makes 7. Yeah, so he does use his face that and body, you know?
Okay. Yeah. Johnny, I want to thank you, brother. I know it takes a little guts to talk to the world publicly, that is. Most persons choose to talk in private sometimes. But I want to thank you for your courage. I want to thank you for talking to me this afternoon in an exclusive fashion. As we bring this to a wrap here, we want to finish up in a while. Anything else on your mind you just want to say before we end?
My brother, all I have to say, I will tell you straight up. We have to get closer to Jah. Our people and them lost. On the outside there, they lost. And I check in that country, they used to say is a country of praying country and what. We need to pray more. We need to check our Jah, our God more. I know everybody have a God, like in their way. You can have a cutlass, you can have it for your God. You can have that table, you can have it for your God. But I know Jah Rastafari is my God. And I believe in him. And he deal in I and I, because if I was disobey him, I maybe believe in it would maybe worse for I and I. So we need to come together, man. We need to come together and we can change that thing. Because good over evil, my brother, it's not evil over good. It's good over evil. And I see the yourself is an evil place. Real evil place, my brother. So all I just check in, we have to get closer to the Father.
Just before we close, Johnny, there are some persons out there that are against speculation, saying that Kenisha was sacrificed and that thing must have some evil spirit or evil connections. What are your thoughts on that?
My brother, if people, when you hear some people say certain thing, smoke don't come out without fire, Rasta.
Okay.
Anytime you spark, you see smoke because you like fire. Them people that utter, that say, they know. Because remember, it's a thing where you see it work as a company, you know. It's a company, you know. So when you see, as you tell me, like how that thing has said go down, we don't know certain time, that little impress there, that little innocent daughter there, the devil so strong. The devil can use that same man, that weak, where he can use him to take that innocent daughter to bring for one of his colleagues. And we will say, it's not so, it's not so. But my brother, they work as a company under one umbrella, It's veins, You check me, and they always asking for innocent, for them to do what they have to do. So I myself always asking myself a question, why we not yet get a trace of that little child? For that kind of search we make, we don't get nothing. We don't see no blood. We don't see, my brother, blood staying for days, And the body will decay, but our body, when it mashing up, it have a special smell, And think of that. Come out from Mao to Regaland, to Glashin, to Sultan, to Layu, to wherever they call it, my brother. My brother, Jah alone, I tell you. Good over evil. Jah alone that have to help us.
A question that just struck my mind there. I was told, and you can confirm that you being part of the family, that is, that there was some dispute over the land where preacher is living. Like a little dispute, a family dispute over land?
No, man. No, man. They don't have that, man. Dispute about land.
Nobody never told preacher, come out on the land?
No, man. No, man. No, man. That do have no. That's why I tell you, you see, you have to get it from the horse's mouth.
Okay. That's why I'm asking you, right?
Yes, you check. So when you hear people or when you hear certain thing, always try to not to just go and just take it and go. It's just good for you to can get your right, your truth. You check? Because certain time somebody will tell you, don't have a precipice. Don't have no precipice. It's a flat piece of land that there. Just for you to not to go down there because they want the flat piece of land. You check? Don't have a precipice and it's a big snake in it. Why? They don't want you to go there, brother. Because they already don't see it. Flat out there like the savannah, they want to take it for themselves. So you have to always get your facts straight. And I tell you, people have to stop that. People have to stop that, my brother.
Yeah. Final question. Kian's mother is your sister, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, there's a house in Maho. She got a house in Maho as well.
Who got the house in Maho?
Kian's mother. I'm just asking. Where does she have a house in Maho as well?
Well, I won't say she have a house in Maho. Because it's a long story.
Okay.
You see?
Because let me tell you why I said about that house in Maho.
Yes.
The same source that I got from in terms of giving me about the dispute of the land in Warner, they were also telling me about that land in that property in Maho, and they were trying to make the connection. So that's why I'm asking you whether she have a house in Maho as well, or property in Maho.
She do have a house, she got property in Maho.
So nothing in Maho and sisters on.
No, I myself telling you, listen to I and I.
Yes.
I don't know. You understand me?
Okay.
That is what maybe people tell you or whatever. But I know about my auntie have a property in Maho.
Okay.
You understand? And the property my auntie have in Maho right now, my sister living there.
Okay.
My first sister.
Okay.
You check me? I don't know how people saying or whatever, but I never knew like they have
issues.
You get me?
Yeah.
Just about like when you tell me about the same land thing. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm just trying to connect the dots. I'm just trying to connect the dots because
when the same dots you collect in there, it's true. Because if I know, or if I hear they have property in my, I would like to know where they have it. You get me?
Yeah.
But I know through family business. Okay. You check me? My auntie is an auntie too. You check me? And I mean, my auntie not there, but I know it is. I know my sisters are there, but I don't come tell you like it's their place, like they buy there or they have the document and everything. I don't know. And so I can know if they have property down there, if they have document and everything for them. So I cannot say it's their place. I cannot say you get me.
True.
But I get where you're coming from.
True.
I get where you're coming from. But it's so I know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I keep telling you final, but that one is the final for sure. What would you want to come out of that situation of Kanisha? What would be your wish?
Boy, I would just like to get my vision for me to know where she be in. I always ask him to let me see that daughter where she be. Always, my brother, because I do see no other way. It's a vision we have to get. Either me, either you, either he, either any one of us. We can just see Kanisha somewhere when we will be living. She not dead, but she dead already, but we know there we get her. That is my, because I do see no other way can happen, my brother. I do see. So if the officers and them not get nothing about that, it's just that have to make us get that daughter. Just alone. And it's that I always saying, it's just that have to give us our vision to tell us go under that big stone, go there we will see something and we will just know we see remains. But I cannot say it's a vision, man. Trust me. Trust me.
Johnny, thank you very much, brother.
Well, my brother, same to you, eh? Blessing, eh?
Yeah, thanks. And one request I really want to make from you is that your brother Lawrence Bruno, I know he's under pressure, but if you can intervene and ask him to have a discussion with me, I would really, really appreciate that. Because at the end of the day, we all want closure, as you said.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, I can always pass that word.
Yeah.
You know, I can always do that for you. But it's not me. If I pass the word, is he that just have to tell me, yeah, man.
Okay.
You understand what I say? I don't say he will tell you or he will tell me, no, you know. Because through, you know,
Yes.
but I can do that for,
True.
yeah, we have to make it reach there, for it to reach there.
And
You understand?
I would appreciate
Yeah,
that.
man, I will do that for you, my brother. No problem, my brother. I will talk to him. I will try to meet him and have a little word with him for him to meet you.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
we can
One love.
that. More love.
Yeah, man.
Respect, I have.
Rastafari every time.
Yeah, man.
Y'all, can y'all hear me well? I didn't want to interrupt. I didn't want to interrupt. Put a thumbs up if you can hear me well. Is anybody feeling more confused or less confused? Are you feeling clearer, or you have some more questions? Do you feel like you have a little direction, or do you feel like it's more sand in the air? Uh, I have some thoughts, okay? So I want to say thank you to this brother right there for saying yes to telling us more. Saying yes to telling us more. I'm happy he did not listen to his brother who said, don't really talk because you don't know what they're going to do with what you say. Because I think truth is truth and truth will cut through BS. So I want to encourage the pastor, the father, the caregiver father to trust in truth and to trust in his God. Because, if you trust in God and you know what you're saying is true, truth is truth. So, in a way, he's right. He said, Jah alone that can help us. Jah alone that can help us. I think Jah alone can help us, but I think the Jah in us has to help us too. So we have to help ourselves too. And that includes our professionals getting additional help. We need we need more help. We need more professional help. What are the two theories? The two theories, according to this brother here, really are um, he talks about the devil somehow. This family loves talking about the devil, eh? Um, he says, as the devil uses weak men. Well, let's go through those two theories. Theoretically, we have two potentially weak men: Kian, being so-called used by the devil, taking Kanisha, and we don't know yet what he's done with her. She might be, if God gives us vision, under a big stone. The other potential is we have another potentially weak man, meaning the pastor, who we don't know what happened and what his weakness is about, although we might. That's another potentially weak man that the devil could have used. Huh? Um, we already know a lot of people mistakenly use the devil, zombie on him, they put a thing on him to explain mental health illness in Dominica, because we don't have a history of taking care of our mentally ill people properly. So we haven't seen our mentally ill people go from very ill to really okay, back in work and, handling themselves. So we're still holding on to that, this devil they put on him and devil they put on him. Okay? Um Adetayo bimisade moke bloku. Sorti as the life mo ever bagay foodstuffs. Okay? I will block you. I dey tell you. We're not no selling foodstuffs on the live. I dey tell you. Okay. All right. I will block you. Be me Sade. Okay? All right. So y'all, these are some of my observations. That family likes to preach at Dominica, don't they? Like they keep saying, oh, Dominica is evil, people bad, people saying this, people saying that. I don't like that they're always preaching at us. We're just trying to understand what's happening. We're just trying to understand what's happening. Okay? Family, and I feel compassion for him. Like I'm really feeling some compassion for him. My biggest takeaway is there's a lot of talk about shit. There's a lot of talk about toilet and pit toilets and brother had to shit. Mm. I hope that all the pit latrines have been properly searched because if you're looking at, he talks about the body, a dead body and stench. The quickest and easiest way to cover up the stench of a dead body is in a pit latrine. There's a lot of pit latrine references in here. So, look, brother had to go shit, so he couldn't stay long to talk. Uh, that made me smile. But I really admire this guy for showing up and saying yes. I think the preacher, I would have expected the preacher to actually have stood up earlier to stand, he's a man of God. And when you're a man of God or a person of God, you know you're going to go through trials and tribulations. But if you believe my God has got my back and I have the truth on my side, what is the fear about talking? So I really encourage the pastor to show up. The community needs him to speak because this is a very, very painful, wide open wound still. His wounds are healing, but the community's wounds are not healing. And yes, uh, you can love a child. Many people kill children they love, or they hurt children they love. Sometimes they don't mean to hurt a child, but a child gets hurt. And we can do a lot of things to try to cover things up. I have a big worry about the covering the blood. What are we covering blood for? Like, who thinks about that who thinks about that when a brother is about to die? My brother's about to die, but I'm thinking even before he goes off on the ambulance. Okay, so put yourself in the position. Like, really, we kind of have to assume the position, so to speak, right? If I'm putting myself in the position my son or my daughter got really hurt and I got to get them to the hospital, we got to get a van for them. Why am I thinking about covering my child's blood? What for what? I'm not seeing the purpose. I'm not seeing the logic for covering blood. I'm not seeing how my mind is even thinking about that. And why would my mind be thinking about covering blood? And why am I also afraid to go over there that they might say my fingerprints or this or that? So the brother, I think, was being very honest, but I have a couple questions about pit latrines and toilets and covering blood. I don't understand why we would be covering blood. I can't find the rationale for that. And I'm still confused as to why the men of the village or the people who came to help did not go off with the cutlasses, like, hey, we know the police coming, but instead of us, we're going to go see if we find them. I don't understand that piece too. I know that the brother was in a very serious situation, but how come we were not thinking, okay, some of us will go with him to get him stabilized, and then the rest he's telling us, hey, go find her, go look for her. So I'm confused a little bit. Okay, I'm confused a little bit. I'm confused a little bit as to why. Yes, we know he's mad, but how come we didn't take our cutlasses too and go try to see if we could find them real quick? I'm also confused about covering blood because there was so much blood. Who does? I don't understand that. Like, are you familiar with that? Like, I don't know. Um, yeah, I'm not. I didn't understand that. And he says you got to be on because your fingerprints. He's a very thoughtful guy to me. I think he's a very thoughtful guy. Like, he's not saying anything that he doesn't really have the details of. It's like he's not necessarily putting his hand in fire, but he's not saying, "Oh, my brother did something horrific." He's saying Kian did something, and everything points to Kian. And but in the same breath, he's also saying he's possessed, he's mad, but he's intelligent. He's thinking clearly. He's like, I don't know. Which is it? 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 And he also says that Kian does not have a history of like coming like this. This was a new thing. This was a new thing. So it's not as if there's one incident where he said something about wanting to interfere with the little kids, but he then said no, he never did that. He doesn't have a history of that. I see some people earlier, they were questioning, well, was wifey really at church or was she at the man neighbor's house? At this point we don't know, and hopefully the investigators are doing an even more thorough job than Lofty is doing. I gotta commend Lofty Durant for this because our officials have gone silent again on us. The commissioner came out last week, almost, he gave us a little crumb, and he's gone back to being silent. It's poor little Emo. I had to see do a little post on her page to let us know something. The search is still ongoing. You know, I'm continuing to say we have to do better than that. It feels we cannot set up an adversarial relationship between the community and the police. All of us know, like Rastafari, they're saying is that the cops messed up. How can you kill the person who's supposed to take us to her? It's a foolish thing that happened. Very foolish. Admit it and move on from it already. Okay? So I really admire Lofty for connecting, making connections with these families and talking. I saw him also talking to a neighbor to kind of give us a sense of what's happening. And why would we not need to know? I'm not understanding. There's a little piece of where there are some people who are almost upset that people are asking valid questions. Why should we not ask valid questions? There's a child out there. We want to know where she is. So why would people not be asking questions, especially if a lot of what they're hearing is not all the way adding up? You have to, at this point, work with two theories. You must. You must. The one person who could have taken us to her is dead. So you must work with the other potential theory. You must, especially when some of what's happening on that side is not adding up all the way. Until it adds up all the way, we can't just say, okay, forget about it. That doesn't make sense. So I'm continuing to say we maintain a state of natty well feeling, good feeling for other people, for him, for his brother, the pastor, for the pastor's wife, for that whole family, for Kanisha's family, for Kanisha. But tomorrow is going to be a whole month since the child has been lost. Well, she's not lost. We know for sure she exists. So we know for sure she is somewhere. We know for sure she is somewhere. Okay. I would say that after this, after I listened to it the first time and then I felt, oh, it's just talk, talk, talk about, my brother nearly died, blood, my brother suffering. I heard that, but then I was like, well, what's about the child? We need to hear a little bit more about the little girl. I'm confused really as to why. My confusion, number one, how come after say we even got the brother on the van headed towards the ambulance, how come some of us didn't with our cutlasses? Yeah, we waiting for police to come, but you know, how come some of us didn't go try to find them? You know? Number two, why okay, my brother just almost died. He's bleeding profusely, a lot of blood. Why am I covering up his blood? What is that for? I don't understand that. You know? And my number three is there's a lot of shit talk, a lot of pit latrines, and I gotta go shit. I can't stay talk to you. What's in the toilet? I gotta go, you know what I mean? Like a lot of pit latrine talk. I hope we have really properly searched the latrines in the area and the big stones, like he says, the big stones. There's something that he does when he's talking. It's called finding a resource spot. After the first time he talked about the toilet, it's like he went off in his head for a while. Um, like when you're very anxious, you can do that to calm yourself down, or you might be locked in a memory. The first time he talked about the toilet, he did that kind of gaze, and he came back there a few times when he was talking about other things. But those are the things that um, stood out for me. What stood out for you? Let me see what some of y'all are saying. Thank you all for showing up. We have no choice because this is a situation that's not going to go away. Hmm? Until it goes away, it hasn't gone away, right? So it's okay that you are showing up and it's okay that you are talking about this. I would say, please, there are some people who seem to not want, again, anybody to talk about their feelings and their thoughts. Everybody has a right to share their thoughts and their feelings because this is impacting everybody. And just because, everybody's not still out in the bush day in, day out, it doesn't mean we're not carrying that pain and that wide open wound. So we have to deal with it. That's another ding, ding, ding to our authorities. Hey, I'm telling you all, the people are not going to forget about this. So it's best to keep showing up and keep plugging in, keep letting us know. Okay, even if it's once a week, give a little update. So let's see what some of you are saying. Norma, you said it's how he reached his brother. Yeah, family, we have these kinds of energetic connections. Um, his brother could have possibly died. Um, it's kind of hard to hold both theories when you hear the pastor was so hurt and bleeding, and you know, it's kind of hard to how does he hurt himself if the wounds are at the back of his head? Well, I guess you could hit yourself in the back of the head, but I don't know. I don't know. That's why you need real forensic people to see, are the wounds consistent with self-inflicted wounds, or would they have to have been inflicted by somebody else? And I don't believe all police are trained to that level. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's why I think we need outside help, like right away. I really want our officials to understand we need this thing properly solved, because we cannot go back to like just pretending like it's not happening. And we've seen enough CSI in 48 hours, and we know these things can be done. So the level of expectation of the people is so high that the police really have to rise up to match it. So you're gonna need some help. That's right, Evelina. Big up to Lofty. Evelina says, best the police hire him to interview suspects. Yeah, he's got a good way of um, creating rapport and connecting to the people that he's talking to. That's a good skill of many therapists, and he does that well. So the people, they trust him, and they just tell the story. So I think that's a beautiful thing. Anesta, you're wondering what's the purpose of that interview? To you, we were adding a bunch of unnecessary details to the story. Some of the questions are leading and the discrepancies. But anyway, I hear you. The thing is, at this point, like I said, I think that void from the beginning, when there didn't seem to be any leadership stepping up to tell us what they were doing, what's actually happening, people in the community just sort of stepped up and hey, we got to find out what's happening. And so people are doing the best they can. The thing with that is it's like a jigsaw puzzle. Every little piece, you might start with that little piece over there and that little piece over there and that piece in the middle. But over time, you can get the one big picture. So let's keep praying for that, that it comes together. And like he says, God gives us the vision to see it. Yeah. So all of you right now need to be praying and asking God to really, hey, Father, show me what my gift is in this time, because this child needs me to know what my gift is. You know, to some he gave the gift of prophecy, the gift of healing, gift of sight, gift of this and that. It's time to ask. It's time to know, why am I here? Why am I here on this planet? And ask God to show you what your gifts are, and you start using them. Natasha, you wanted to know if he was his brother's closest neighbor. Yeah, I wonder, you know. I guess, Natasha, you're wondering if he had a closer neighbor, why would he leave and go all the way to his brother? Maybe his brother is his closest neighbor. Glenda, yeah, some of the stuff I had to laugh, you know. German, you say, you know, the man got cut up, but at least he's still alive. So you thought the questions would be about the child. Yeah, the thing is, it's hard for him, the brother, because he doesn't really have any details. He was not the one that's there. Really, for that, we need the pastor. I'm really, praying and challenging the pastor, because as a pastor of a church in a community, you might not be our pastor. You might not be the pastor of the country, but in that role, there are things you do, you take care of, you shepherd. So unfortunately, you are the one that's on the hot seat, so to speak, and that's a painful place to be. That's a painful place to be. But I mean, Jesus went through his hot seat and he had to go all the way through to the end. So I'm hoping the pastor really, what you're gonna do when you see you walking through fire, you just gotta go, you just gotta walk through fire. Andrea, you said thus far the sincerest interviews to you seem to have come from this guy, Kanisha's father, and the grandmother as well, to an extent. Yeah, that's what I think. I think Curtis and the grandmother. I think this guy is being honest. I think the parts where he knows he does not have the details to completely say, like he says, I don't know how he came into the house. He's correct. He doesn't have the details. When he doesn't have the details, he doesn't try to make something up. He doesn't try to say, oh, my brother is a good man, he'll never do a thing like that, because that's impossible to say about a person. I don't care how great a person is looking to you. I promise you, every mental health expert, every cop knows you cannot trust a person's words. You need more than their words or even their facial expression to tell you if they're telling you the truth or not. Sabria, you just had finished listening to the interview. Nayamba, yeah, I don't understand. Like, who would think to do that? Like, would you think to cover blood? My Somebody just took my child away. They just took my brother's child away. Why am I covering up my brother's blood? What is that for? I don't understand. It does not fit. And so that's a piece that doesn't fit to me. Doesn't fit. They use solar, I believe, and they don't have electricity. That's why, Jermaine, it looks like nobody went to look for the child. I don't understand that. That's a piece of the masculine energy thing. I'm telling you all that something is happening with our masculine people in Dominica where that's not kicking into gear the way it used to. Because if the innocent is out there in the bush, I would have expected some of the men to not say, oh, we're going to wait for the police to come, but they would go out with their bullseye and their cutlasses and be like, yeah, we're going after Mister, as opposed to saying on that one, oh, we're going to wait. That felt a little icky to me. But, when you're outside looking in, sometimes you can't see everything. Yeah, to most people at home, mental illness is always deemed as evil. We got to stop that because we are hurting our mentally ill people even more. Why? Because we are not giving them the opportunity to get better. By saying all they have is a devil, we have refused them. We already shut the door down on them getting the help they need, medication support and therapy support that could help them get back into work, even. So if that's you, if you have a family member that's suffering from something you think is somebody, a demon possessed them, I'm encouraging you to find a therapist in Dominica today, tomorrow, and do a little assessment to see what else might be going on. Because your child, if you leave it there like that with this business about, oh, it's just the devil, jumping that on him, they put a spirit on him, you've just condemned your child maybe to a life of unnecessary suffering when they could be getting help and their brain could be clearing up and they could be coming back to themselves. Okay, like he said, if they had gotten Kian, the cops had gotten Kian, they could have medicated him to where his brain would get clear and he could lead us to her if he's the one who really took her. Yeah, I didn't like that all the men, all the big strapping men came and they all fell and, oh, my brother is in distress and he's in blood. I get that. But I also wonder how come nobody then went to try to rescue the child right away and they were waiting for the cops, you know. Evelina, you says this sounds like a whole family affair, a situationship, an entanglement. Yeah, this family is very enmeshed, and you could feel it from the beginning. You hear the pastor wife saying they love their uncle, they love each other. This is a very, very close family. She even talks about it. The first interview, they would do a lot for each other, even if it means hurting one of them or allowing one of them to. Because if somebody had to take the fall, why not let it be the one who's not that productive, right? I'm just saying. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying they're very tight. They're very tight, but he was different. He had the devil, you know. So if somebody had to take the fall, um, yeah, Jermaine, all this man is talking about is his brother and Kian. Yeah, the thing is, he didn't really know much about the little girl. Again, his part of the story is he takes care of his brother until his brother is safe. Yeah. Andre, you think he has exposed how hypocritical the other members of his family have been? If an incident like this has happened in one sister's house, I would like to believe the other family members knew or heard of it. So why in their individual interviews were they saying to us initially, oh, he would never hurt her. He would never hurt her. But then all of them knew that at some point, how many men in the village had to hold him down. He bent a bed, this his uncle is saying. So they were not, it's hard to trust them. The first time somebody says something that you're like, inconsistent, it makes it hard for you to trust them moving forward. So they kind of, you know, set that situation up for us to be asking them many, many, many more questions. Andrea, you think Kanisha was disposable to this family? The way that they describe the story, of the pastor and how everybody was on preacher. And basically they were like, Kian and the child will figure it out, you know? She was not blood, and unfortunately that has a strong hand to play in how her situation came about. Yeah, she was, yes, she called us uncle, but she wasn't blood. Yeah. Lunatic, why is he talking about a fingerprint? Why is he thinking of people saying he chopped the preacher? I don't understand that piece, because at that point nobody was really talking about all of this. This is in the heat of the moment. Like, who thinks all that way? Like, I don't understand that. I would not have been thinking about that. Like, why would I assume somebody would say I hurt my brother? That was confusing to me. Well, like Rosemary said, I found that strange. um Priscilla, you said the husband said he heard Kanisha say Uncle Kian, but the wife said she doesn't know Kian. Yeah, it's this inconsistencies where we're like, hey, y'all story not adding up for us. Y'all not on one accord. Iselene, the brother told him not to talk to anyone. This is so. Why is his wife talking all the time? This is puzzling. I think the wife cannot help but talk. I think that's her personality. I think she's one of those people who talks and they throw sand in your face. I don't think she can help but talk. Vida, Heather. You say they need to check that toilet and the area the blood was covered. I agree. Something's not making sense. You don't have an indoor toilet, but you have a car. Well, maybe you could, maybe because of this religion thing, which we need to talk about, maybe because of this religion thing, we need the car for our to save souls. I don't know. Let me stop it. That was a little mean on my part. I'm sorry. um, he says they left society, they left the city where they were living behind the church in the parsonage to go up in the heights. We all people need to be a little bit more thinking through things. I think a lot of times we allow strangers to come into Dominica and just start pouring in their religious beliefs into us, their own kind of ideas, things we didn't even grow up with. We start assuming these ideas and we start believing because the people look a certain way, because they look a certain way, because they look a certain way, eh, that what they say is gospel. And we start taking on some stuff that really doesn't make sense. How are you going to leave where you were there, the little green church? How connected is that to like big city life, like to go all the way up in the heights? Like, we have to watch this. There are a lot of people who take advantage of small islands and African countries and Asian countries. They just go with their own little doctrine. These are people with little sects, little religious groups, very fundamental, very hardcore, who up here in the US hate people who look like this. And they go to our countries and they start filling up all people's heads with nonsense, if you ask me. They throw a couple dollars and no, I have a personage, honey. Yeah. And they start telling us to do things. We don't know some of these people's intentions for us. What I know is when I see these people up here, they're shooting my boy if they got a chance in the street. So I know they cannot leave here with all of this love in their heart to come down here for my boy in Dominica. So our people need to be a little bit more judicious, a little bit more thinking. Just because people come and say, oh, we can give you a little burial, we can help you build a church, we're going to call you a certain thing, you're going to be the pastor in chief. you know we start adhering to some kinds of doctrines and ideas that we didn't grow up with. you know Again, you have to test a source. You have to test. If a spirit come at you, you got to test it. A lot of these people, like I say, a lot of these fundamentalist people, they live here where they will shoot my son in the street for this. And they go down to our little islands and start with the same mentality, trying to now teach us they know more about God than we know about God. Okay? So now he leaves, so they leave their little, what for me is like just a little village. He leaves the village and goes up now in the heights. I'm German, you asked, did Kian have a big problem with his uncle, his loving uncle? That's nobody's talking about this. Like, what is the problem that Kian had with his loving uncle? Why would he do this? Like, why is he? And again, from the words of, so this is the brother tonight. The brother says, well, he came and he took the girl. But remember, the pastor said Kian came, well, the wife said Kian came for her husband. The wife said Kian came for her husband. Husband said he came for Kanisha. Which is it? Yeah, we got some we got some splaining to do, but this I don't get the covering the blood. We got some toilets to check. Judy, you're saying you really want to know what did the doctor or the nurse say was wrong with Kanisha the day before when she was absent from school. I'm also interested in that. Like, what was going on that she was needing medical care? What exactly was going on? I am sure the investigators will get those medical records to find out. I am sure they will. I agree with him, Judy, that the only victory really in this is to find Kanisha. However, however we find her, that's the only victory in this, because this little girl she doesn't deserve to be out there. She doesn't deserve to be out there like this. I agree that the police need to go back to check the pit toilets. It is not too late. It's not too late. Vida, Heather, you say something's not adding up. The investigation really needs to start. People have stories and things are falling in line. Round them up exactly, separately, and start getting the stories. You're going to start seeing the commonalities. The neighbors, everybody needs to be, information needs to be corroborated. Were they really there at this time? You know, why didn't the wife go back to the women's core group first before going by David? Was she traumatized of what happened at the house? I don't know. Yeah, Kendra, he was going in toilet. Yeah, a lot of shit talk, man. A lot of toilet talk. Couldn't even stay talk to his brother. He had to go to the toilet. What's in the toilet? Man maybe needed to relieve himself. Maybe. Hmm. Um, all we know is Kanisha is out there. We don't know how and why and wherefore, but we know she's out there somewhere. Can the Dominica Police Commissioner seek help from overseas authorities to help with interrogating the families, the entire family, and the adopted and immediate families? We need this. We need higher level of investigation. We are not trained for this. We don't have experience doing this. So yeah, I'd say yes. I agree with him. God is the answer to this. And I'm encouraging you, therefore, every day to go up and pray. Those of you who can pray, pray. The prayer warriors, pray. The fast, those for you whom fasting is a breeze, fast. Yeah. Those for you who if I give somebody and I do something good for somebody, it opens something up in my life. Do that. Because all of us need to come together to pull this baby up. Iselin, you wanted to know where's the sheet which he used to wrap his brother? Do the police have it? Yeah, there's just a lot of forensic stuff that needs to be done, testing, DNA testing, um, you know, that luminescent sort of light that you can look and you can see, well, we go back into the house, did we see really how much blood was there, whose blood was there? They're going to be, I mean, the crime scene tells you everything. The crime scene is going to tell you everything. So you got to go back there with professionals quick. You know what I mean? And even after people have had time to use even bleach to bleach out blood, professionals can suss through that. So we're asking our professionals again, we need help. We know you all are not trained to do this. We know that because you even demonstrated it to us. The person we needed to, we said, take us to Kanisha. Y'all killed her. We know that. Y'all killed him. Okay. Let's try not to make more fumbles and let's get some help. I'm lunatic. I was with you with the who is the weak man that the devil used to get Kanisha. Two theories. It's either Kian or Pastor. Hmm? Kian is dead. So that trail is essentially cold, except if we keep looking. And like he says, we find her under a stone somewhere. But we also need to be looking at the pastor. These were supposedly the two men last with Kanisha. And it is what it is. So I get that a lot of people are uncomfortable with the questions about the pastor. But they've got to be asked. That's just, how can you just automatically say, well, no, it cannot be? You can't do that. You're not saying he did it, but you have to investigate it all the way to the end. Yeah, we need to search them pit toilets. Yeah, a lot of you have issues with covering up the blood because who does that? Like, why? Like, who's even thinking about that? Who's thinking if I go back by my brother's house to see if I see the person who just took my child at my fingerprint? Who cares about this? Who's thinking about that? I don't understand. Hi, Lynthia. More questions, right? Because more questions. More questions, and every question has an answer. You just haven't found it yet. Every question's got its answer. You just haven't found it yet. Um, Kiki Beloved, you say it's not the family alone that makes that mistake with mental health. It's everywhere in Dominica. We tend to do that. Like that's our first man. That poor devil. Like we have given the devil so much power over us. We need to take that power back. Because if you take your power back, you can take your child to a therapist and get the correct medication to help their brain balance itself out so they can live a life at least where they can produce something. As opposed to, oh my God, you just surrender and it's devil. It's not always that. I'm not saying that there's not demonic possession, because, if there's dark, if there's light, there's dark. So I do believe that that is part of our existence. But everything cannot be that. Jermaine, I'm with you. Jah alone cannot help us. Yeah, that's an overrated statement that we use when we want to give up. When we don't want to do the hard work, a lot of us will say, well, God will fix it. Well, you're going to have to get your butt up and go to work every day to make that money if you want to build that house. Eh? Jah alone can help me. Jah already help you. Jah wants everything that's good for you already. So you now have to do your part. Yeah, I didn't get that, Sabria. All these grown-ups scared of Kian and kept insisting he wouldn't hurt her. I really appreciate I appreciate him for showing up. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage. Chetty, you said a video needs to be taken of the inside structure of that small house. Child came from church, changed into her sleepwear. So when did Kian enter her room? Which room? Where is the room? One of the searchers said the other night that there's only one room and then there's the rest of the house. So what are they talking about? Love alone. Good night. Good night. My dear. Love alone makes a difference. Higher love, divine love. Yeah, Natty well. You think it's irrelevant, born to succeed, that the pastor would tell his brother, be careful not to talk to people because they're saying many things. I mean, if there's nothing to hide, why the caution? Exactly. And I think I'm a little disappointed in the pastor because as a pastor, again, you know who your source is, you know who your God is. And so you're a man of truth. And so you have to come out and settle the people down. As a pastor, if you're a real pastor, you know that you got to talk truth and that the people have a reason to be feeling agitated and anxious about this child that you love, that they're telling you they love too. So of course, I would jump up to say, yeah, this is what happened. The same way he was saying it in the hospital. hmm You know, I'm staying, you're right, in the heat of the moment, like a lot of us, we're not thinking clearly. But when you have one person, I could say that. But when you have several people, like you mean not one person said, because each person has a different style of responding to stress. One person will be like, nah, boy, I'm not going anywhere. Another person will be like, let's go get this joker. Like it just seemed as if everybody said, oh, let's wait for the police. I don't know. Shani, you said something to think about. That little girl went missing. The same week, all of these sex offenders were being uncovered. Shani, oh, child. My spirit just jumped when you said that because I thought that on the very night. I thought that because to me, it felt like a culmination. Like when a thing is ramping up, we had all of these sex offender, this, that, da, 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 da. And it poof, it ended up with this. Jermaine, Jermaine, you said the cover blood thing you think is the most high that made him say that part. I think all the little pieces are gonna come together and show a nice picture in the end. We gotta hold that vision. You gotta hold that vision that we find Kanisha, that the picture gets clear and we see. Tomorrow is July 7th. Every day the story gets complicated. Let's pray that it gets clearer and clearer. If Kian did something, we need DNA on Kian's clothing and the cutlass. That's the only way his name can be cleared. Yeah? I agree with you too. The police messed up. We know that. Like they need to even stop trying to play around with this. That's tomfoolery to even be trying to. They're just wasting our time with this. You know, we get it. Let's move past that and let's keep looking for Kanisha getting answers to these questions. Like they just need to stop playing these games because nobody's studying that because we know different. Initially, it was all a focus on Kian. Kian is gone. Pastor does need to help us. He needs to come out more and tell us more, give us more details. Even if he's asked a million times, exactly. Even if you're asked a million times what happened, you got to be, I can't wait to tell you so you can find her. Because this guy, yeah, it's my nephew, but he took her. So anybody who wants to hear it, I'm here to tell it. And that is how people act when they are not hiding anything. Yep, for the sake of your love for Kanisha, come out because we're all trying to help you find her. No silence of the lamb. Every opportunity I get, I'll talk about her. Thanks for your platform. Thank you, Rosaline. They got a dog from Martinique. Will now bring in such help as independent investigators. Absolutely. 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 Yeah, if he was so fighting with the uncle, how come there are no fragments? Well, we're hoping again that the investigators are doing a proper job, but because we know our resources are limited, we know that some of the tests they need. I don't think we have it here with like DNA testing and, I don't know. So I think they need to ask for help. I think they need to ask for help. And finally, Kimmy, you said God helps those who help themselves. So I'm going to encourage all of us. We are one. We are a community. We are one. We are a community. Pastor is part of that one. You understand? Kian is part of that one. So is Kanisha, part of that one. Pastor wife, all of us. We are one. So let us all, as one, hold the vision for us to see the truth. Okay? For us to find Kanisha, for us to find out what happened to that little girl. Okay? Thank you all very much for talking with me. You all realize how much you helped me. What you all are doing is you're helping me process this stuff too. You're helping me process it so I'm not just sitting on by myself. Oh my God, oh my God, all these thoughts, And that's what we have to do for each other as community. So I'll see you all tomorrow, Lord willing. I'll be back on here tomorrow night at about 7. Peace. Bonsoir. Sleep well, everybody.